I'm NichBoy and welcome to Pocket for Tuesday, the 22nd of March. Today on the show, animations, texture glitches, and a jet-lagged NichBoy. Guess who's back? Back again. NichBoy's back. Tell your friends. Guess who's back? Oh no, I sounded too low. Guess who's back? 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 Na 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 na. Alright, here's what's been making headlines. Rocket League developer Psyonix have said that they're ready to go with Xbox One, PS4 crossplay. In an interview with GameSpot, the studio's vice president Jeremy Dunham said that the only thing that's stopping them from going full steam ahead with the idea is politics. He said, technologically, everything works. We figured it out, just a bit of time to get everything up and running. Right now, excitement is the best way to put it. We just want to get in there and make it happen. Microsoft has expressed interest in working with other networks, and Sony, when asked about the matter, stated that PlayStation has been supporting cross-platform play on several software titles since 2002. It's basically two kids sending love letters to each other through their friends. Just go across the playground and talk to her yourself, Nick. You're gonna lose it a Billy. Boxing RPG Punch Club is being destroyed by pirates. The game has just surpassed 300,000 units sold, but according to publisher TinyBuild, the game has been illegally downloaded 1.6 million times. That's over 5 people stealing the game for every one legit purchase. The data that TinyBuild put forward in their blog posts is more of a warning to other developers. They note a direct correlation between localizing the game for a particular region and the amount it then gets pirated from that region. On the day that the Portuguese version of the game was released, less than 20% of the downloads in Brazil were purchases. Understandably, people only want to steal things that they can understand. That's why nobody pirated Ridley Scott's The Counselor. That's a Scott burn. And in patch notes, The Division is getting an update tomorrow which will tweak some Dark Zone mechanics. You'll now be able to fast travel into the Dark Zone from the open world, and players will be able to heal each other, even if they're not partied up. Also, players will lose less money and experience when they die. The patch also increases the rate of rarer loot drops when running missions in challenge mode. Halo 5 is receiving an update which introduces the much-loved Firefight mode, which originated in Halo ODST. Developer 343 Industries have said that the new Firefight, which takes place on the game's Warzone maps, will see the most on-screen enemies in the history of the franchise. The mode is designed for up to 8 co-op players. I'm joined now by Lynn to discuss our final news story. Hi.
Hi, Nick.
It's been too short.
It's been about 10 hours since I've seen you last.
Miss me?
I miss you always.
Blizzard have revealed the first animated short for Overwatch called Recall. It's basically a Saturday morning cartoon, just with heaps better graphics. What did you think of it?
I really enjoyed it. I would definitely watch a film or a TV show, in that style.
Blizzard have always made amazing cinematics, and we have all always wanted movie or TV style content from them. And I figured that these shorts, this is like a mini series. There's a story there about, the Overwatch thing had been disbanded and now they're all illegal, and then, it needs to come back together. I feel like this is going to pay off over the course of the series.
Absolutely, and I think it references a lot of different, genres. You've got kind of the Bond, the Mission Impossible thing going with the agents, and then there's a bit of Moon in there, a bit of Planet of the Apes. I really love the references they've put in the animated short already.
Yep.
I think you had Hearthstone.
Yes.
On the screen.
Yes.
And you had a lot of references which fans would really pick up.
Winston is eating a banana, and that's a call out to, obviously the big banana.
I like the banana peel slip as well. That was a great gag.
Yep.
I remember playing Warcraft 3 just to watch the cutscenes.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how much of a fan of Blizzard animation I am. And, as you said, they've always been incredible at doing that style. So, this animated short actually makes me really excited about the game. But I also feel like they should do more of these, peripheral content.
Yeah.
Things. Yeah.
Well, my one criticism of Overwatch, beyond the fact that I'm not amazing at shooters, is that there's little context in the game itself for who these characters are, why they're here, why they're all fighting, their background and all that sort of thing. This is going to provide that context, hopefully flesh it out a bit. I would love if they still inserted part of that into the game and it's not all external, but I think it's great storytelling and really entertaining. The only problem I have with it is that The whole short is about this ape, and he's beautiful and adorable, and when he's little and he's so cute, and you're just like, you're such a good guy, I love you so much. And then the character who I play the most, Reaper, comes in and basically tries to murder a monkey. And not basically, that is actually what he's trying to do. And I got this thing, I'm sitting there watching the video, I was like, am I the bad guy?
Yeah, you're just a horrible person.
Yeah.
You know, you're trying to kill an adorable monkey. I'm really excited about the diverse range of superheroes.
Yep.
I think that's really cool. You know, when they flash through all the heroes that you can play at the end of that, I was really excited. It was like, oh, that's a really nice, diverse kind of cast of playable characters.
Hopefully they do shorts for all of them. Moving on now, it's Thing of the Day.
Would you all please, with your applause, welcome the Prime Minister of Australia, Malcolm Turnbull.
It's Thing of the Day. A texture glitch in Evolve left YouTuber BA Slade93 somewhere unexpected. His dropship didn't take him back to a familiar monster murder dome, but rather the psychedelic dream of Ringo Starr. It's Thing of the Day. And now it's talk through time, and I couldn't let Lynn escape me, so I tied it to the chair. We're going to talk about our trip to GDC. You've been to E3 before. What were you expecting from GDC as a conference?
I think everything that was told to me before we went to GDC made me expect it to be this really lovely congregation of game devs around the world.
And they were lies!
Were they?
No.
No. And it was pretty much exactly that, wasn't it?
Yeah.
The vibe was just really chilled out. It was so much nicer than E3, where E3 was just, you know, marketing in your face, PR in your face. GDC was really more about the developers and the indies. But what we didn't expect was all the playable stuff on the show floor.
The interesting thing about that was that so many of those devs were actually just wandering to other people's booths to play things. We would go talk to someone or interview someone, and they'd talk about 3 other things on the floor that they thought were really cool. There was a real collaboration vibe going on, and it was way more relaxed than even something like PAX, which is still bright lights in your face. This is kind of, it was kind of well lit the whole time, and it was just people wandering around explaining how they made their games to other people. Who
One thing we didn't expect was the hustle of the developers.
Oh,
like,
those Norwegians.
At E3, you know, people see cameras and they're like, I don't care. It's
Yeah.
just another film crew. You know, everyone in all the media in the world are here.
Yeah.
At GDC, people see our cameras, and we had relatively good cameras compared to a lot of other crews who just had their DSLRs or shooting on their
exactly.
phones.
Yeah, extremely handsome host.
Yeah, this guy, this mug. But when people saw our cameras, they just went, oh, I'm from Mexico, I'm developing this game, here's my card, please come over to my booth, have a play, you know, where are you guys from?
One woman comes up to me, she's like, so what's your specialty? I was like, oh no, I'm media. And our media badge has like a little red sort of ribbon at the bottom that says media, and it's in gold writing, like you're a god.
We felt very special.
Yeah, and she was like, oh right, and so she starts talking to me, about coverage, and I was like, oh, we can't really do it right now. And I said, are you looking for developers to work on your game? And she goes, yeah, well that's why I'm standing here once this talk's done. And I was like, well maybe you could get that guy. And I point to the person talking, and she goes, oh yeah, who's that? I go, that's Ted Price. And she goes, does he make games? I was like, yeah, he's the head of Insomniac. And she goes, oh, do you think he'd be busy? I was like, what? What are you talking about? And then I just kind of backed away.
But we discussed this while we were at GDC, that I guess games, they never really had celebrities.
Yeah.
Like if you're a game developer, you're not necessarily a celebrity in terms of a film director.
Yeah, to the general public.
To the general public, and even those who work in games may not know some of, you know, the old school guys like Ted Price, like Tim Schafer.
Yeah,
you know, John
Ron
Carmack,
Gilbert starts talking,
you
and
know,
people are like,
Exactly, like, and the new, you know, kids coming through might not know who they are. So it's really interesting when they sit in on these talks, and it's like, oh, it's Ted Price. Do you know what he does?
Yeah, and the other thing that I thought was really interesting, which I didn't expect, is how honest everyone was about their failures. So there was a lot of their talks were about, here's what we did wrong with our game, here's how we want to fix it, here are things that we think you could avoid in the future if you're making the same kind of thing. And I don't think there's many industries where there's an openness about helping each other like that. It certainly doesn't exist in the film industry, and there's just a real sort of collaboration vibe from GDC, which was great.
And along with the 600 or 650 talks that were put on during that week, the developers who gave the talks would stay behind after giving the talks and literally talk to anyone and answer any questions that the audience had. And so we had a chat with Corey Davis.
Yeah, who was a designer on Rocket League.
After his talk, we had to stay around to interview him. And he basically took, 40 minutes to just chat with people outside of the room.
It was almost frustrating only because we had other things to do, but I loved the fact that it was like the media, to the developers giving those talks, the media was the least important thing there. To the indie devs, they wanted coverage. But to those guys, they were like, no, I'm here to educate you guys and share my stories.
But what's really exciting is, last year, they didn't even have a game released, right?
So last year, they didn't even bring Rocket League to GDC. They had finished the game, but they were just going to talks, sitting there, trying to learn as much as they could about
And in a
releasing the
year's
game.
time, they're
like
giving talks
superstars.
at GDC.
Yeah,
which is amazing. Like, that change, that improvement and trajectory in the gaming sphere is just amazing how fast it is. One other thing that I realized through our experiences, I came back from E3 last year really hyped, really excited about playing games.
Yeah, and new ones coming in.
Exactly. And whereas I come back from GDC and it's more about being inspired and interested in creativity and inspired to create, because it really is a week where 25,000 developers come together to talk creation.
Yes. Yeah, it's if E3 is where your game is sold, GDC is where your game is made, and that was really special. And the one other thing I wasn't expecting from GDC was there was so much VR. There was VR everywhere, and if VR is going to take off in the way that a lot of people want it to, then it's places like GDC where developers get a heap of hands-on time with it. It's going to sort of make those games happen.
Absolutely, and it was so big at GDC this year that they had to move all the talks from the West Hall into the much bigger North Hall.
Yeah. It was very, very cool. So we will be having a half-hour episode of Good Game on ABC2 for you about our GDC trip mid-April. Also, our house came with a cat.
So cool.
The cat's name was Prince. It was actually the next door neighbor's cat, and at some point during the week we didn't know whether or not we could let him inside, so we kind of threw him out. So that was rough.
We fed it though.
We did. That was probably our mistake. All right, that's it for today's episode of Pocket. More Pocketeers! Please go on the internet and check out Good Game on Facebook, YouTube, and iView. Want to meet fellow Pocketeers? Then join the Pocketeers Facebook group and Steam group. You can follow Good Game on Twitter at Good Game TV, follow Pocket at NichBoy, at Pierreth, at GG Edit Monkey, and at Samgi. She's at Ljology, and there are links to everything I just said in the description below. Today's absurdist, long-form political satire thing of the day was made by Jonathan Bug. If you've made a thing, please send it in, or just whack the words thing of the day at the end of a half-hour episode of anything. Tonight, of course, on ABC2 is Good Game, and on the show tonight, Bajo and Hex review The Division, Hitman, I play Cluster Truck, and Goose gives us his opinion on pre-ordering. And tomorrow on Pocket, I will be chatting to Goose about his opinion that he gives tonight and why he's wrong, because I'm sure he is. So make sure you tell him your opinions as well. Until tomorrow, NichBoy out.
Lynchy out.
We are both wearing jumpers from America.
Can I please go back to bed now?
So tired.
I really need to.
So tired.
I'm going to sleep.